What is up, guys? Spot on May here. UFC Macau, Sung Yudong versus NURMAGOMEDOV takes place this weekend. And it's not the best card, you know. It's not really a good card, even. But that's besides the point. Anyway, I'm going to go through the whole card, give my entire predictions and breakdown of every single fight on the card. Let's get right away started. I mean, there's a lot of stinkers to get through, but the main event's really good. There's a couple really solid, decent little scraps on here. But the first fight, Ding Mang versus Cam Nelson, is not one of those fun scraps. But I'm going to go with Cam Nelson here. He's an underdog. I'm just not impressed with Ding Mang. He has a lot of experience, 45 fights, but 10 losses to 10 not very high level guys. A lot of janky records on his resume. Like, a lot of guys are double-digit losses, single-digit wins, like 2-3 wins, 3-0, 2-4, those type of guys. Cam Nelson hasn't fought really good comp either, but he's younger. I think he's a little more explosive, a little more finishing potential. And yeah, I'm just going to go with Cam Nelson by decision here. Ding Mang could get it done here. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised at all because, he has a lot of experience, but I'm going to take the underdog in Cam Nelson on the first fight of the night. On to Zhang Jingnan versus Julia Palestri. I'm going to go with Zhang Jingyang. I'm going to go with another underdog here. I'm picking a lot of underdogs in this card, but I think Zhang Jingyang is the better fighter here. She's very she's auntie, but I think the experience is going to be a big factor. She lost her UFC debut to Angela Hill. That's a very tough debut, and Angela Hill is a very tough out, especially in your debut. Yeah, I think she's just more experienced. I think she's better on the feet. I think she'll be able to keep it standing, and she's a bigger girl. And I think she's just going to pick her apart at range to a 29-28 or 30-27 decision here. As another underdog. Pretty big size underdog, too. She could get taken down here. And Pulisic can mix it up a little bit. Maybe hold her against the cage and stuff. But I'm going to trust in Zhang Jingyang. On to Lawrence Liu versus Hector Santiago. Lawrence Liu looked pretty decent in his UFC debut. In the road to UFC final, I believe. I can't remember who he fought, but I'm pretty sure he had a pretty decent performance. And he's fighting a guy in Hector Santiago, making his UFC debut. I think Lawrence Liu should get this one done. I think it's kind of a layup. I think it's like they're kind of trying to manufacture a win streak here for him. He's fighting out of New Zealand, but apparently he's from Hong Kong, from China. So home country advantage. It'll probably be a packed card to start the night. Usually the China cards are pretty packed from start to finish, so a lot of pressure on Hector Santiago in his debut. It'll be like a million times bigger venue than he's ever fought in. And I think Lawrence Liu's just better. I think he's better on the feet. I think he can take him down if he wants to. But I think it's going to be another decision here, or a late rounds TKO. I'm going to go with the late rounds TKO for Lawrence Liu, ground and pound TKO. In the third round, after a bit of a scrap where Lawrence Liu just does enough to stay ahead. And then in the third round, he pours it on and gets the finish. On to Zhang Long. Zhang Long versus Francisco Nuzzi. Making his debut. Zhang Long is the guy who fought Cody Garbrandt and kicked him in the nuts. And then they yelled at each other. And then they screamed at each other and they threw down for like 5 seconds. And they didn't do anything else for the rest of the fight. He's pretty young, and he's a lot of fights. Once again, a lot of losses. Francisco Nuzzi is coming off of a no contest where there was an accidental groin kick or an accidental kick to a downed opponent, something like that. This is a tough one, but I'm gonna go with Francisco Nuzzi. I'm just not impressed with Zhang Long. I don't think Cody Garbrandt's good at all. I think if you're anything decent, you should be able to beat him at least. And if you're really something in the sport, you should be able to KO him. Especially if you're like a big power puncher like Zhang Long is. But Cody Garbrandt is fast and he can't be tricky, but I think Francisco knows he's going to be able to just kind of out-technically work Zhang Lao to a decision here in a kind of a boring little tit-for-tat fight. A little bit of an ole fest. Yeah, Zhang Lao could go out there and catch him with something. He does have some pop in his hands. He stung Cody Garbrandt a couple times, but Cody Garbrandt doesn't have the best chin nowadays. He just got destroyed by Adrian Yanez, and he gets destroyed a lot. He got wobbled by Honey Barcelo, so wobbling Cody Garbrandt at this point doesn't really say much. And Francisco Nuzzi's fighting out of Cage Warriors. It's a decent regional promotion. That's the word I was looking for there. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Francisco Nuzzi, kind of just stalling out Zhang Long to a 29-28 split decision. Yeah, I think he's just gonna kind of just pick him at range, not get into a slugfest with them, push him against the cage. Just a very educated fight from him. On to an actual banger. Jack Jenkins versus Sean Woodson. This is a very sick fight. Sean Woodson does look like Roger from American Dad if he was like just stretched out like that. If you just like took Roger from American Dad and just put him there. Very interesting build. Probably the most interesting build in the UFC. He's going to have a 10-inch reach advantage. He's going to be so much bigger than him in the cage. He has good boxing. He beat Charles Jourdain. Just got TKO'd by Dan Ige in his last fight, but it was kind of a wonky stoppage where he was winning that fight up until the stoppage. But I'm going to go with Jack Jenkins here as another underdog in this card. I'm going with Jack Jenkins. I think the leg kicks are going to be big for him. Jack Jenkins, the one thing he really does have is very good leg kicks and very powerful leg kicks, and you can just see the build of Sean Woodson there, right there. Those legs, they're keen to be leg kicked to hell. And I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna win by a leg kick TKO in round 2. We don't really see that much often, but Sean Woodson, he's had a year and a bit off now. I never really thought he was that good. He's a little chinny. You know, and when he gets hit in the chin, he does wobble. He's cutting a lot of weight, I would imagine. I also think Jack Jenkins could wrestle him. But I think it's going to be a leg kick and wrestle. Leg kick kind of wrestle fight. I don't think he's going to be able to get much boxing off. I think he's going to be really fighting behind his leg kicks and his grappling here. And if he can't get his grappling off or his leg kicks off, it will be Sean Woodson just kind of picking him at range and just using his boxing. So he does have very good boxing. But I just think Jack Jenkins' leg kicks are going to shine through here. And maybe he'll be losing the first round in the second round, but those leg kicks are going to start to add up. And yeah, I think he's going to win by a leg kick TKO in round 2. If not, if he doesn't get the TKO in round 2, I think the leg kicks will start to hurt Sean Woodson enough where Jack Jenkins can start to get his wrestling off and win a 29-28 decision. But I am going to go with a leg kick TKO in round 2. On to Ray Tasuria versus Kevin Borjas. Huge underdog in Kevin Borjas. He just won as a massive underdog against Andre Lima, who's also on this card, but it's actually in the next fight. And Ray Tasuria could be fraud checked here. I'm not going to lie. This is a tricky one for Ray Tasuria. I do think he's going to win because I do think he's pretty sick, and I think his grappling is really sick. But if he gets stuck on the feet with Kevin Borjas has a nice jab, a good 2. He's good fundamental boxing. He has good range discipline. You know, he's very a disciplined striker, very disciplined boxer. And he knows how to pick his shots. You know, he beat Ronaldo Rodriguez, something like that, where he's a massive underdog. This guy thrives being a massive underdog. But unfortunately for him, I think Ray Tasuria is the real deal, and I think he will be a ranked flyweight fighter. And I think that's kind of the level you have to be to beat him. I think Andre Lima probably should have beaten him, because I do think Andre Lima's on the level of Ray Tasuria, but Kevin Borjas fought a really good fight. But I just think the grappling of Ray Tasuria is going to be too much here. and Right Zero is going to get a submission in round 2 by a rear naked choke. In the first round, he's going to go out there, get his takedowns, throw bombs on the feet, make Kevin Borjas kind of worry about it. Mixing the grappling. I think Kevin Borjas is taller than 5'5", though. I will say that. Because I don't think Kevin Borjas will be the shorter guy in this fight. And I think he'll have a little bit of a reach advantage. So, there is that to be worried about. But I do think that Rage Surya's grappling is going to be really effective here, and I do find him getting a second round submission here. On to another fight here. Nurmagomedov Battiara. Okay. Versus Andre Lima. I'm going to go with Andre Lima here. In this one. Nasrai is taking this one. This is his UFC debut. This is a very tough debut. He does have a good record, 10-1, but Andre Lima is very good, and he's coming off his first career loss. He did kind of get a little pissy after it, which wasn't a good look. He was like making a shit ton of excuses, saying that Kevin Borjas sucks and that 9 times out of 10 he beats him and all this type of shit. And he was like having a fucking hissy fit on his Twitter and Instagram. But I do think he's gonna win here. I think his boxing's gonna and his striking is gonna shine through here, and I think he's gonna win by a second round TKO. I was gonna say first round, but I'll go second round because it's flyweight. But this guy is not on Andre Lima's level. Maybe he can mix in the grappling, but Andre Lima is a pretty good grappler, and he's been putting together the finishes other than the Kevin Borjas fight on the feet. So yeah, I think this is a really big reset for Andre Lima, though. They're really trying to give him a win, a good recorded win, to get him back kind of on the track he was on, because they were really slow building him up the rankings, and now I guess they're just going to slow rebuild him. So yeah, Andre Lima, second round TKO. On to Bilal Hassan versus Nelson Rojas. Both guys taking on their debut. Bilal just fought in the Contender Series not that long ago against an Indian guy who was not good. He was the biggest favorite in Contender Series history, Bilal was, until last Tuesday, where it was Bellamir who lost. But Bilal Hassan, he was expected to go out there and destroy the Indian guy. He did. He knocked him out in one punch. Pretty sick performance. We don't really know too much about him, but I do think that he will go out there and get a TKO in round 2. I'll go round 1. I'll go round 1 TKO for Bilal Hassan. He has really good striking, man. This kid's sick on the feet. He really is. He's going to knock out Nelson Rojas with a straight down the middle. He's a massive favorite for a reason. Shouldn't be that big of a favorite, because they are both making their debuts, so we don't know too much about either of them. But I do think Bilal is going to hit the moonwalk after a big KO. That's kind of his thing, Michael Jackson. He's a big Michael Jackson fan. That's kind of like his whole branding that he's been working with. So there's that. Yeah, I think he's going to go in there and get a big KO because I don't know why he's fighting Nelson Rojas, who's making his debut. This is just kind of another Contender Series fight for him, I guess. It's kind of weird that they're doing this so much with Contender Series guys, like bringing them in and then signing guys for them to beat. It's an interesting maneuver there, but hey, it is what it is. They want to get these guys on win streaks before they really get going, so I'm fine with it. And he's really young. I think he's like 25 or 24, 26 maybe on the high end. So he has a lot of time here. So I think first round KO for Bilal Hassan. He's definitely a prospect to watch out for. We'll see how far he goes. This should definitely be a win here, though. This would be a major fraud check if he somehow loses. But Nelson Rojas is undefeated. Like, he's 9-0. Hasn't fought to best of comp, but he's still an undefeated guy who's hungry. On to Luis C versus Levi Rodriguez. I don't know why Levi Rodriguez doesn't have a picture, because he's fought in the UFC before. Usually it's not. Usually it's like guys making their debut who don't have the pictures, but I'm gonna go with Levi Rodriguez here by KO as an underdog. Leo C, he's 3-1. The first red flag, second red flag. He hasn't fought really good comp at all. And Levi Rodriguez is a dog. Like, I'm gonna be real. He's a be killed fighter. He has a good chin. He just fought Felipe Franco, I think, and they had a dog fight. I think Levi Rodriguez might have got chinned in that one, but still, like, he puts his head down and he throws bombs, and he's a fucking brick for a head. And I don't think I think Yoshi's like a big finisher, and if he doesn't get that early finish, I think Levi's gonna charge in and land something on his chin and put him down as an underdog. So, yeah, I mean, you pull up the 3-1 record in your UFC debut and your favorite. It's hard to pick you, It's hard to pick you. On to Alex Perez versus Sumo Darji. Now, the first time these guys were booked, I did pick Alex Perez because I did think that he was going to KO Sumo Darji. However, even though they didn't fight for that long, it was like half a round or like 1.5 rounds, something like that, and then Alex Perez got kicked in the nuts. I'm actually going to change my pick here. I'm going to go with Sumo Darji because in that fight, he was kind of putting a little bit of a whooping on Alex Perez early. He was kind of like having his way with him. He did look like he might have started slowing down a little bit, but I'm going to trust that Sumo Darji is able to stack up the first 2 rounds by picking at Alex Perez at range and being the big, long, rangy striker and not getting hit with the big looping hooks and being able to stuff the takedowns of Alex Perez, who's kind of a winging bombs, double leg kind of guy at flyweight. And if you don't find those KO shots, he's not that fucking good. He's kind of shit if he doesn't KO you. So I think Sumo Darji is a well-rounded fighter. And yeah, I think he's going to be able to go in there and win a decision. Clean decision, 29-28. Alex Perez has some moments in round 3 where, it's kind of competitive at the end. But Alex Perez does have that power at flyweight where like he could just clip you and it's lights out. But it is flyweight, so relying on a guy to win just by KO power, I don't know. And Sumo Darji has a pretty decent chin, so there's that. I don't think he has and Charles Johnson is kind of chinny, so there's also that. On to the featured fight of the night, Arukuchulang, the Mongolian murderer, versus Kaya Asakura. Kaya Sakura by first round KO. I thought we got the layup out of the way with Cameron Smotherman, but I guess not. I guess they really want to make sure Kaya Sakura gets some time to build into the division before they give him a real test, because, yeah, this isn't a test, man. Kaya Sakura is really sick on the feet, and if you're not, if you can't get him down in the grappling, you're probably going to get knocked out, and that's just the way it is, so, yeah. I'm going to go with Kaya Sakura by first round KO, man. He's minus 450 favorite for a reason. On to the co-main event of the evening. Yan Xiaonan versus Denise Gomes. I am a big fan of Denise Gomes. I'm also a big fan of Yan Xiaonan. But I do think that Yan Xiaonan is going to win at 30-27 here. Denise Gomes has looked improved. She's not as much as reliant on her power as she used to be, but she does still rely on that power quite a bit. And I think Yan Xiaonan is the second best women's strawweight in the UFC, maybe third. You could put Mackenzie Dern above her. I think it goes Wei Li, Mackenzie Dern, and then Yan Xiaonan. She's very good. Good on the feet, good on the ground. I think she's just going to go in there and fucking dominate Denise Gomes. Piece her up on the feet, hold her against the cage, take her down when she wants to, and win a 30-27. Kind of a stinker. Nothing really happens, and it's just kind of Yan Xiaonan. Very similar to the Tabitha Ritchie fight, where it was kind of boring, but it was boring because Yan Xiaonan was just that much better than her. And yeah, because I don't think this fight should even be made. It's number 4 in the world versus number fucking 14, and it's so close in odds. Come on, what are we doing? The odds in this card are fucking crazy. I'm about to get to the main event where I think the odds are super crazy, but yeah, I got Yan Xiaonan winning 3-27, schooling Denise Gomes. Absolutely schooling her, taking her down, piecing her up on the feet, just winning the fight wherever it goes, winning the clinch exchanges. Yan Xiaonan also has power on the feet, so I wouldn't be surprised if Denise Gomes gets kind of desperate and starts trying to just clobbering time and just walks into a right straight down the middle and gets put out. You know, like it could be one of those type of fights. I'm not gonna pick it because it is women's strawweight, so picking a KO is kind of just, you're kind of just fucking putting out a prayer there. But Yan Xiaonan KO'd Jessica Andrade. She was very similar to Nisi Gomes, and maybe a little better than Nisi Gomes, for being real. So I got Yan Xiaonan 30-27, clear dominant decision. On to the main event of the evening. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Sung Yadong. This is a banger main event. Absolute banger main event. The best weight class in the sport is men's bantamweight. And this is a banger main event, man. This is a super banger main event. Two of the highest leveled fighters in the division. Umar, of course, had that razor close decision with Merab Dvalishvili. After that, he beat Mario Batista in a very close fight where I think Umar got dropped in that one. That's a little hint to where I'm going to go with this one. And I don't think he's had a fight since the Mario Batista fight, which wasn't that long ago. I think it was in January or February, if I do believe so. Oh no. Didn't he fight Mario Batista in October and then Davidson Figueiredo in January in a very much a stinker fight? Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. He kind of just held down Davidson Figueiredo, which is very impressive. I want to put that out there. Very impressive, just hold down Davidson Figueiredo. Didn't do any damage. You know, it was very a much stinker fight. It's the type of fight you watch and you never rewatch and you kind of forget it happened. But it was a very impressive performance. Sung Yadong, of course, coming off of also win against Davidson Figueiredo by submission, where Davidson just kind of shot into a guillotine. And then before that, I think it was the O'Malley fight for Sung Yadong, which was a very, very, very close fight on the feet, where some people thought Sung Yadong won. I don't think he did. I think the first and third round, O'Malley won, if I'm remembering correctly. But I'm going to go with Sung Yadong. I know that's crazy. He's a plus 400 dog. I don't think he should be. Umar's very good. He is very good, but I think Sung Yadong's very good. Like, his only losses in the UFC, other than the Kyler Phillips loss, which is an absolute stinker, are to Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen, and Sean O'Malley. The three most elite strikers in the division. Umar does have very underrated striking. So there is that, and he does kind of fight like those guys where he kind of picks you at range, but he's a lot smaller than them. He's the same size as Sung Yadong. He doesn't have nearly the level of boxing that Peter Yan has, who was also the same size as Sung Yadong. And Sung Yadong has very good boxing. I think he's like he's a top 5 boxer in the division. He's a granite chin. He has a good wrestling base. He's very strong. He's built like a fucking mini fridge. The guy is fucking jacked. He's super strong. He's a tough base. And I think he's going to win this one by decision. 48-47 decision where he wins a couple rounds by dropping Umar Nurmagomedov, who gets dropped a lot. He got dropped by the guy, I can see his face. He beat, I have to look this up. I have to. He got caught by Beztek Almakhan, who actually recently just got cut, who he shouldn't have been cut, but he is pretty solid. But yeah, I just think Sung Yadong's going to be able to catch him on the chin. I think Umar's kind of chinny, unfortunately. I think he's kind of a glass chin a little bit. I don't think he's going to get knocked out or anything. He could, but I doubt it. But I do think he's going to get dropped a couple times, and that's going to swing a couple of really close rounds, because the thing with Umar, he's very good, he's very talented. He's Dagestani, he's a great wrestler, he's really good striking. He's a complete package. He could potentially win a world championship in his career, even though I think he's going to lose this fight. I don't think that means he's never going to win a UFC championship. I do think he's very skilled and very good. But I forget what I was going to say, but he does get chinned. Like, he does not have the best of chins, and he leaves rounds very close. That's what I was going to say. He leaves rounds really close. He doesn't really have that much power. He did knock out Ronnie Barcelos, which is an amazing win. But other than that, he doesn't really KO guys. Doesn't have a lot of pop in the feet. Doesn't have the best boxing. And Sung Yadong has very good boxing, and I don't think that he's going to be able to get taken down and held down for 5 straight rounds. If he does, that's very fucking impressive, and my respect and my belief in Umar becoming a champion will go fucking way up, because I do think Sung Yadong is the dark horse of this division. I don't know if he goes on to win a championship or anything like that, but I do think he's very good. I think he's a very good counter wrestler. When Merab was the champion, my pick to beat Merab for the belt was Sung Yadong. If he could get there, I think this guy is a perfect counter wrestling kind of guy, and I think he's gonna win a 48-47 decision against Umar Nurmagomedov, where he wins it by landing the bigger shots, dropping Umar a couple times. Umar has success in the grappling. You know, he's able to hold him down a couple of rounds, but Sung Yadong lands the power shots, busts open Umar's face. And yeah, I think the light kicks for Umar could be good here. Like, I do think Umar could definitely win this fight. He could definitely win it by scooching around on the outskirts, chopping the leg, and shooting in the double legs. But as a plus 400 dog, I gotta pick him. It's the year of the upset, baby. And that shit's continuing with a Sung Yadong 48-47 decision. Peace out.